Hi, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Book Dawn, the show where I talk about my favorite books. And sometimes, when I'm very lucky, I get to have a conversation with one of my favorite authors. And today, I'm so happy to have somebody very special. Her books are devastating, but she's very friendly in real life. Please welcome the fantastic Kajornwan Chueng. I think I pronounced that right. Um,
Yes.
hi, Faye. That's your nickname, so I'm going to call you Faye. That's easier for me. Hi, Faye. Welcome to the show. This is the first time I'm talking to a Thai author. It's the first time I'm conversing with a Thai person. The other conversations have been very transactional because I've been there as a tourist. So this is a very new experience for me. Welcome to Book Down. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're on this show. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, first off, สวัสดีค่ะ
Swadika, Kapunka.
สวัสดีค่ะ and thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor. Truly, I'm really flattered because your reviews were great, and I didn't expect Obsidian to be one of your enjoyable reads because I've heard that it's a bit too grim, too dark, too devastating for you, but it's really an honor that you actually enjoyed that suffering
No,
in
it
the
was.
end.
So let's take a look at your books. Let's take a full screen look. So these are the books that the amazing Kajornwan Chueng has written. She's an author with many names. She's also known as Sienna Frost, and her nickname is Faye, which is the easiest for me to say. But these are her fantastic books. Obsidian Awakening. This is the first one, followed by Obsidian Revelation. And these books are absolutely devastating. And I mean that in the best possible way. I think that's exactly what she wanted when she wrote these books. She wanted to ruin your sleep, destroy your heart, and put you on edge while reading these books. And she succeeds. I think you've succeeded really well. Let me just take this away for the moment, bring us back. And then, one second, let me bring back the actual one. There we go. Now we're in. Yeah. So, first of all, Faye, first of all, this is your first series. Obsidian Awakening is your first book. This is grimdark fantasy. So, what put you in mind to suddenly become a writer? I think let's talk about that first.
Actually, these must be my, I'm not sure, like fifth, sixth books. I lost count because I've been writing for 30 years actually, but all of the books I've written were for my eyes only. I've never published them. And later I published some fan fiction, so that's not a book, a published book per se. And actually started writing these, sharing Obsidian on Wattpad first as a web novel because I had an idea after I spent 7 years writing fan fiction, which had quite a large following, and then those readers told me that I should start writing originals and maybe publish them because they love the that work so much. And so I said, yeah, well, I do have an idea for a book, and I just started writing and posting on Wattpad, and it gained some following. I was really having fun. So by the end of book one, readers on Wattpad were like, "Oh, I want to read. I want a proper book. I want a physical. I want we want physicals. We wanted um, like a book that is not a PDF format or an ebook because reading on Wattpad is difficult. It's chapter by chapter. You have to use the browser and everything, and so that. Well, at first I said, well, if I'm gonna compile this, I'm gonna try and query first, and it turns out I didn't like. I had maybe seven fulls out, and I didn't have the patience to wait. It was like after, like my fulls were still out there, and then by month eight or something, I was like, no, this is taking too long, and so I just tossed the book online without any planning, without any launch preparation that all authors doing. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just throwing the books out there, and it was only available in ebook format because that's my gift to my readers on Wattpad actually. so they could buy, and I was selling it pretty cheap, like 199 or something. I can't remember because I did no research at all on how to be an indie author. That was for my Wattpad readers, and after that, it was me. Not wanting to fail at anything. I'm an Asian girl. We do something, we gotta ace it. And so I started like, well, this is not as easy as I thought. Just throwing the books out there, I didn't like the numbers, so I started doing some marketing, being more active on social media, and I released the physical quite a bit later because I wanted to give my readers something special. So if you've seen the physical, it has a lot of illustrations in there. And the layout is like the magazine layout because I used to lay out magazines for work. So I have the knowledge, I have the training, I have the program. And so the physical was really special, and that was also my gift to my readers. Just they wanted paper, but I don't want them to buy the same thing on paper. I want to offer them something different and better and worth the price tag of 10, $20. It shouldn't just be the same words on paper. That's ridiculous to me. I'm an ebook reader, so when you tell me to buy something, 3, 4 times as much, it's gotta have something else besides being written on paper. So yeah, so and then um, it I it gained quite a few followers, and yeah, a lot of reviewers liked it, and yeah, so I kept going. It wasn't a decision. I've never Being a writer has never been my goal. I enjoy writing for me because back then I was in a boarding school when I really started to write. I was about 14. I was in a boarding school in New Zealand alone because I my parents and my family were still in Thailand. And so that was how I got through loneliness for the most part, and I lived abroad for about 10 years. During those times was when I wrote the most, but I never shared with anyone until now. Yeah.
So when would you so you've been writing for 30 years and been writing on Wattpad and writing for yourself, but this
Mm.
specific story you came up with what, 7 years ago? This specific Obsidian
Yeah,
story.
around right now it's probably 9 years now, maybe, because before the first book was released, it took me 7 years before the first book was released to finally, have a complete book. I also deleted like 70,000 words of it and rewrote the whole book at one point because I was starting at the wrong place. If you see what I mean, I have the idea and I wrote for 70K, and I was like, no, 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 we gotta go back 2 generations. So I went back 2 generations and started over. And now I'm writing towards the the first scene that I started this book with. Like we
Really?
haven't even got that yet. Yeah, even in
Oh,
fiction,
wow.
we're not even there yet. So because I started writing and I feel like wow, all these people have such interesting backstories, and I have to tell these stories. So yeah, that was a decision to just throw it away. I mean, it wasn't that good either because it was like a brainstorming kind of period for me. Yeah. Yeah, but so like we haven't got that yet.
No, this is very interesting because book Twitter is full of people always trying to come up with rules of writing and whatnot, and there are many, many funny debates going on. But what I personally believe, and I have reason to believe these things because I practice art in my own way, is you need to put in the effort. You need to put in some sort of practice. Like just now, you've said you've been writing for 30 years. Yes, your book may have come out 7 years ago, uh, Obsidian, but you've been writing for 30 years. For whatever of the audience, continuous writing process have honed your skills, which is why you could, when you came up with an interesting story, you flesh it out the way you wanted to. So I think that's very important because I see a lot of times people talking too much about process. I see a lot of times people completely poo-pooing the process. There is no process. There's always a process. Some people don't know what their process is, and they cannot articulate the process, but there is a process. For example, Stephen King always says that, oh, when I write a book, I don't know where it's going. You also say that regularly. When I'm
Yeah.
writing, I don't know. But I believe there is a process in your head, and there are things in your head which either you don't want to talk about because you haven't firmed it up, but there is a process which is unique to you. That doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. There's a big difference between the two. Okay? So what do you say to that?
I feel like it's it's all about passion and experience, but I also study a lot of the craft by reading. I'd say reading a lot, writing a lot, because you see gurus say a lot that, you some people say you have to read a lot. Some people say no, you have to write a lot. That's exercise. I say, if you ask me, it's like 70% reading, 20% actually writing, and then the 10% is editing. Um,
Agreed.
yeah, because it's reading. I'm not sure if this works for everybody though, because I've talked to an editor and he's like, in order to learn by example like that, you have to be able to read very closely, and that's a skill not everybody has. And I've been someone who reads very slowly, very closely, and I would go back. I would read a paragraph. Sometimes I'd go back and reread it again. I love finding stuff between the lines. I love seeing the techniques that the author used. When I feel something so intensely from the words, I'd go back and I'll dissect that. Like, why is this particular piece of writing making me feel so intensely, and why is it not the same with the other book? So I analyze a lot. So that's one process, I'd say, in developing the actual writing skill. But then the other part, I feel like the community talks a lot about writing as if it's just one thing. I feel like one part of it is your imagination. The other part is the craft. It's like you have an idea for a book, or you have an idea of the painting you want to paint. But unless you know how to use the brush correctly, unless your hand is, well adjusted to the technique that you want to use, you can't paint that picture. No matter how good the idea is, if you can't write it, if you can't put it down in words effectively, it won't come out good or as good. So there are two parts of it. You definitely have to be exposed to a lot of stories to have imagination. I also watch a ton. I used to be a movie addict. I'd watch like 300, 400 movies per year at one point in my life, for like maybe. And then I grew up with manga, so I've also read like
Yes.
thousands of manga since I was young. And then now I'm watching C dramas like crazy. So I'm exposed to like Eastern, Western, and all forms of stories, which is what made Obsidian possible. Um, so that's the imagination part. That's how I am able to just wing it. I'm a pantser, but I have ideas because I've been reading. I've consumed so many stories over a really long period. I'm almost 50, but I've had a long time to consume stories, and between then and now, I've also read a lot, and I've tried to learn the craft, because also English isn't my first language. That's the hardest part. I have to learn English, I have to learn grammar, and then I have to learn how to use the word to put together a sentence and then make somebody feel something so intensely. And that was so hard for me. Yeah, so I feel like it's the processes. There are two separate processes that people like to like roll it into one, and that's it doesn't work that way. Yeah.
No, I think
But
that's something
learning by
very important you said.
example works a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
No, I've never really thought about it that way because I don't really think about craft that much. I'm a musician, so I've had like 4 albums. It's my hobby. Music is my hobby. I have a
Oh
band.
wow.
So we've been active since 1993. We have like 5 albums out. So that comes to roughly a total of, with all our singles, we've published like 60 songs over like 30 years. But but I have not listened to 60 songs in my life. I've listened to thousands of songs.
Yeah.
Like my favorite band itself has 10 albums, so averaging 8 songs an album, that's 80 songs just by one album, one band.
Yeah.
So I've listened far more than I have produced. If you take Quentin Tarantino, the famous filmmaker,
Mm.
he's made 9 movies, and apparently the 10th is gonna be his last. So, but he hasn't watched 9 movies. He's watched thousands of movies. So I think that's
Yeah.
very important. Separating experiencing storytelling in the form of movies, mangas, comics, books, whatever, and writing. I think they're part of the same universe. So you can't really talk about one without the other. I think that's a very fantastic thing you just said. And if you don't have your imagination constantly being enriched by all these outside impacts, it doesn't matter if you're a pantser or you're not, or if you're a planner or a gardener, whatever the term is, nothing's going to grow. You need to, because
Mm.
I believe in the maxim that nothing comes from nothing. I don't believe that you get ideas from nowhere. It comes from the
Yeah.
immersion
Definitely.
you have with the world, right? Whatever you immersed in, your family, your work, your movies, your books, whatever you're experiencing, things pop from there. So that's a very good point. I totally agree that people should not look at writing as just one separate from everything else. So completely agree with that. It's a very good point. Um, Coming back to specifically Obsidian, so several things about Obsidian. First of all, help me help me encapsulate what this book is all about to people who are watching this video, because I'm very bad at that. I'm very bad at summarizing. So how would you say, like, if, like, who would like this book? People looking for what would like this book? So what it's about?
Um, I feel like the real target of who would end up loving Obsidian is somebody looking for a real love story. Though it's not romantasy, but it. I feel like my very dedicated readers are all someone who understands love, who really wants to see love written, who wants to read about sacrifice for love and how far one would go for love. And I'm not just talking about romantic love here, I'm talking about the love of a father, of a son, of a daughter, of a brother. Um, I feel like in the end, this book is, the setup is warfare. The setup is racial war. The setup is oppression. It's a dark world for real, but what keeps everyone alive is the love of something that is really, really strong, that's pushing them forward. So I feel like no matter how dark this gets, there's heart in it. And if you're not looking for um, romance where everything has to end well, or with somebody gets what they want in the end, or an escape, but you have loved and you have been loved for real, it will touch you. I hope I hope it will touch you pretty deeply. The message of this book really is that love um, has power, and it can push you in the wrong direction or the right direction. And I'm not going to pick one um, path. I'm just going to show all kinds of things that love can push a human to do. And in the end, whether you're going the wrong path or the right path, you get strength. Humans get real strength from love, from loving something. Even though for some in this book, it's their country, it's their land, it's their freedom, it's their honor. So that's, yeah. I feel like somebody might get into this because it's a desert scene, it's exotic, it feels whatever. But in the end, people who love these books are somebody looking to read a book about real love, not romance, but love and the power of love.
I'm feeling so good at myself. I'm feeling so good about myself because one of my questions that I've written down here was one of my questions was, is your book what romanticy is supposed to be? This was one of my questions. Not what romanticy is, but is this what romanticy is supposed to be, where you have a strong epic fantasy story with strong actions and strong settings and like powerful things happening alongside powerful emotions, which you just said,
Mm.
which could be love, which could be hate, which could be anything, but powerful emotions. That it's not just actions, but they're coupled with powerful emotions. So when I was reading your book, when I was preparing questions like what am I gonna ask Faye, this was one of my questions. Is this? So did you actually set out to write what romanticy is supposed to be? It's a much maligned term, especially in literate fantasy circles. Oh, romanticy is trash. Like lit RPG is called the romanticy for boys. So lit RPG and romanticy, they're equally trashed.
Yeah.
I don't read romanticy. I love lit RPG. So bring it, baby, bring it on. So yes, so was that one of your things? Like I want to write a proper romanticy or what it could be.
It's no, the, I used to think that's what romance is. I used to equate it with love, but later on, the more romance I've read, it's like I've said this on Twitter, on X, that these days when you say romance, it's one of those books where either you're single and you're looking for the perfect man who's not there, who doesn't exist, um, or you're married but you want to have an affair with a hot guy. Without having to cheat on your husband for real. And that's sort of like the incentive for people to read romance these days when you say romance. And I used to equate romance with Nicholas Sparks.
Mm,
Those
mm, mm.
that's a but so now I've been calling them romance and love stories.
Okay.
I'd say so. I think at this point it's too late for anybody to change the romance genre. Also, because there is a rule, like people associate that term with happy endings and that kind of stuff now. So they would be angry and very disappointed, or very disappointed if something ends badly um, in a love story that is called romance. I'm not gonna mess with that. Like you do whatever. I'm just gonna write a love story based on wartime and historical setting. Yeah.
No, because the only thing approaching romantic. Oh, oh, sorry, one thing I forgot, Faye. Electricity comes and goes in Bangladesh. So if my electricity goes off, I'll be back in just 2 minutes. You just stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry. I'll just be
Okay.
out and then I'll be back. So don't worry
Okay.
about it. Anyway, just I've read only one romanticy in my. I think it's romanticy. It's Fourth Wing by Rebecca somebody
Oh, you read
Yaros.
that
Rebecca.
one?
Yes, I've read that because it's about dragons and dragon riders. I'm like, wow, that looks nice, and it has glowing reviews, right? And I read that book, and she writes really well. I love her writing style, but the story is paper thin. It's not a very well told tale. There's way too much heaving bosoms and emotions, and doing sex in the room, and not enough story. There wasn't enough story. There wasn't enough military oomph. It's very light. It's not even it's not. I don't have a problem with love. I love light, but the story was not very well written, which is why I didn't move on to the next books. So I'm glad that you've differentiated between romance and love. Love is something more serious.
It's
It transcends mere physical attraction or an escape. I think that's what you're trying to say,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But
So I
it's a
think that's
stage
yeah.
we go to. You can, if you remember us when we were young, when we were that young.
I'm
We
still young.
probably, yeah, well, that young, like teens.
I get it. I get
That's that we probably enjoy those stories because we don't. know much. That's like our first encounter of love, or the idea of love. That's what, and that's the, most romanticy is geared towards the younger generation. But after you've had a real relationship, after you've been married or dated someone, or just old enough and been through enough life, you realize that that's not believable anymore. And that's my problem with it. It's like I understand escapism, but at a certain point in your life, you've lived enough, you've survived enough decades and so survived enough humanity. you it's it's difficult for you to, suspend the disbelief when you read a book for somebody much younger, that's targeting somebody much younger. So that's my problem with books these days. Like I said, to you, sometimes, like, I almost have to read to check the author's age. So yeah, they have to be older than I am. Otherwise, if they're younger, they've been through, fewer years than I am. I'm just like, no, it doesn't work. That's not life. That's not true.
Yeah, I don't have time for teenage angst. I just don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
Um, Obsidian is very, as you've said, it's very real, it's very grounded, and I wrote in my review that there's no cutesy elves and dwarves here because it's full of atrocities only humans are capable of, and your books are very, very dark. For I have read Joe Abercrombie, and they were so dark. I read the first Lot trilogy. I have zero memory. I just remember there was a torturer. He's one of the protagonists. I don't remember his name. I just remember there was a torturer. I remember nothing from these books. I have read Game of Thrones, all the books that Mr. Martin has published, and I never liked them. The books never worked for me. I like the series far more than the books. I
Series
love the
was
series. The
series
series
was
was
good.
fantastic. I just didn't like his writing, and I'm trying to remember what are the grimdark books I've read, like In Your Face grimdark books. Oh yeah, I've read Robin Hobb, which the first
Grim Dawn?
book, Robin Hobb,
It's Grim Dawn?
Robin Hobb. Oh
His books are
yeah,
Grim
yeah,
Dawn?
her.
Oh,
She's a woman. Robin Hobb, the
oh,
Farseer trilogy. That is the grimmest grimdark I've read. It's even grimmer than yours. Um,
wow.
be,
I
not
had no
because
idea.
not because the story is better, but because it's just it makes you miserable. The first book is not that bad. It's pretty positive, and compared to the other two, it's like a walk in the park in a nice summer day. The next two books are they make your life completely miserable, and the ending I didn't like the ending. I read the trilogy, but they're very beloved. I love her writing style. She's a
Mm.
legend. I wish her the best. I'm a fan because her writing is beautiful. I know it didn't work for you. I think you tried a few pages. I love her writing style, but it's really grimdark. So so out of all of them, I've realized, and then I read yours, which is like proper grimdark, you know. Uh, so the reason why your stories, and I remember the first one, I was like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to the next one. And then I read the next one because I like you, and I'll be honest, I like the way you tweet. I like what you put on X. You seem like a very interesting person. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try reading the next one. And I remember you telling me, the next one is not this dark, and you were wrong. It is as dark, but the difference is there are lots of magical moments. You create these
Yeah.
amazing moments because I remember in the first book there are very few things that happen. I don't know how to put it. Like there are very few events happening,
It's the
and there's a
setup.
lot of yeah. The whole book is a setup
Yeah,
for
the whole
what's
book
gonna
is.
follow. Yeah, the whole book is a setup, and what I loved about book two is the first book you set up the legends of the characters. We meet Muradi, we meet his wife. I'm really bad with names. What's his wife's name?
uh
Muradi's wife.
Zahara.
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 We meet Zahara. We meet the other Zed lady in the desert, the princess.
Yeah,
Um,
Dajari and
the Jari, right?
Lashi.
The
Yeah.
Jari. We meet Lasheen, the sparrow. No, no, we don't meet this. Yeah, we meet the sparrow, and then we meet
We meet everybody, the seven. Yeah.
everybody. We meet
Yeah.
Lasura, who's broken and is scared of his
Yeah.
dad. So we meet Diodi Amara, the best character in your entire book. Um, so we meet all these people, and you have crafted the legends. Like everybody talks about them. They're like this. They're like Muradi is so dangerous and he's so full of himself and he's so confident. Everything goes according to his plans. And then part one ends badly for all of them. Book one ends badly for, except for no, even for Diodiamara. I think it ends badly for all of them, right? Everybody is knocked off their perch and their high horse. So the ending itself was very like you're taken through a very dark journey, and then you're
Yeah.
thrown into the lion's mouth. Like take that. That's what you do to your readers, right? So I needed a break. I was like, oh wow, that's too dark for me. I'm gonna take a break. And then I read part two. What I particularly loved about part two, and I've actually sold like I work in advertising. I work with my best friend. She's my boss. So that's been my mantra in life: work with your friends. So that's what I do. So I told after I finished your second book, I went and told her that you're gonna love this book because it's all about emotions and love and all of that, and it's really really fantastic. So she's already started reading your book. Anyway,
Oh,
what so I've started. So the part two is amazing because you see the people live up to the legend or live up to their potential. For people like Lasura, he lives up to his potential. For people like Muradi and Zahara, who we just heard things. Oh, he's confident, he's amazing, he's this, is that. Zahara, we've heard things. Diodiamara, we've heard things. The Sparrow, we've heard things, but then we see what they're capable of. I love this reclamation of who he is, the Muradi, the journey of Muradi, the journey of Zahara, the way she finds it's like a coming of age for 40-year-old people, like
yeah,
rediscovering the second phase of your life. And I'm also nearing 50, so I love books where this theme plays, where slightly older people, once they've already sampled adulthood and they're in their second phase of life and they're coming of age again as they're entering the second phase. I
yeah.
love that theme. So, was this your plan? Like, was this something you figured out that in the first book, I'll just build the legends and the setup, and the second book is going to be like a huge payoff? Was this part of the plan?
I have no plan. Right. I No, I have scenes in mind. Actually, the only idea I had when I started writing, and it's a scene I said I'm trying to write toward, which we haven't seen it yet because it started with Hashim and the Jari. I wanted to write a relationship where it's, an impossible relationship where love prevails anyway, because she's gonna have to marry someone else. She can't marry her own sworn sword. They can't marry, but they. I want to write that relationship that is so strong. The loyalty is so strong. It doesn't matter who you marry. They're just gonna stick together. Hashim is always just gonna die for her. Like you've seen in book two, that he will say this. That's like he doesn't care who he marries or who he ends up with. In the end, if he has to choose, it will be the Jari, that he's going to die for and do everything for. And then she's gonna drag him along with her hurt, and that's the kind of pain I want to write so bad. It's like she's gonna drag him by the hair, to just come along with me, and he is gonna actually have this one scene in mind where he has to stand in front of her tent while she's um, with her husband, and he has to protect that tent, hearing everything that goes on in there, even when the husband hurts her, and he can't do anything because she's gonna say, "You can't do anything. This is my job. Like I have to marry this guy," and that's like I had that scene popped up in mind, and I said, "Wow, I want to write this story," and so I had to go back from the beginning to see, to set them up to see like why can't they be together, and how does that loyalty form, and why is this relationship impossible? It will be impossible to the end, and everyone else was built around them. So I create the conflicts. The war was created to bring these two together, to make these two, the relationship work. And then because I had to create the war, I had to create, uh, the enemy, the king, the emperor, and then that's how Muradi got, was born. And then because he had to do something bad. That's how Sahara was got there. And then I realized, oh my god, these two set every room on fire. And so they became they went from being the side characters to the main characters themselves. So it's like, okay, now I have four, and then everyone just like pops up, like the Jari, the I forgot my own MC's name. The Oracle brother,
Oh,
the
Nazir, Nazir,
Nazir, right? Nazir.
Nazir.
He was just gonna be there as her bro to a side character, and then he suddenly got into a relationship himself, which they now become like one of my readers like most rooted for um, couple, because they people love this couple so much, and they've been telling me like, do not, whatever you do, don't kill these two. And so they deserve this place too. And so it all developed from this one simple scene, and I kept adding layers and layers to it out of necessity, because I don't plan. So everything has to make sense. I make up the world so that they make sense, and then I keep writing. And the thing about pantsing that I keep telling people who want to try this method is that you want to build something from what you've already written. You cannot, if you pants right, you will not have a plot hole, because you're not going to jump forward and say this is gonna be it. You're just gonna, oh, so this guy did this, and then you imagine what could have happened if he did this. The consequence of doing this. So if you look back enough of what you've already written, you always have a story to go on, because there are always consequence to our action. And that consequence is what you see. So that I didn't plan book two to be. I didn't actually plan book one to reset the board. If you really think about it, it's the resetting of the board.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
goes back to zero, and then they have
yes,
to start everything, a new life, even um, a new name. When
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
gets new name in book two, they have to start over. Yeah, but that's because this is a story of consequence as well, like we discussed earlier. I hate it when main characters do something bad and then they don't get served the consequence that they.
Can you give me an example, and let's pick a big author so that nobody minds? Like a very successful author who wrote a book which you feel that the hero gets, he doesn't go through the consequences of his
I don't
actions so that
know.
nobody
I
minds.
feel like
Like, are you talking
I
about J.K. Rowling? Are you talking about Harry Potter? Because I think that's pretty consequential.
I
There are a lot
haven't
of
read
consequences. Okay.
I haven't read Harry Potter, but I feel like most Western books that I've read, except for Guy Gabriel Case or Joe Abercrombie's, they all end some in a way that I feel like nah, like nah, in the real world. Because if you look at it, every single hero who's got their happy endings, for one thing, you say the Marvel universe, for example, you have these superheroes that go to battle, and then they win and they get celebrated as heroes. And I feel like every single one of those stories, if you just write from the other point of view, they'd work as a villain. I mean, I can write every single stories like that, where it ends happy with the superheroes, or just like, because people don't want to see the dirt, and that when you show them the dirt, they call it grimdark. But I feel like that's not dark. That's the other side of the story that people don't want to show, because they want to keep they care about readers' feelings. They don't you don't want to have this bad feeling where, oh my god, like the hero should kill this enemy, um, but I mean, he would feel so bad afterwards because the enemy has kids too. I mean, you don't see Western stories go through that, right? I mean, that's the grimdark stuff where you have to kill somebody and then you realize they have names, they have a sick grandma, they have babies, but you have to kill them, and that's the torture that I love in stories that I'm not getting in a lot of, especially fantasy books, because they always try to show that. But Game of Thrones does it, but not to the point where I feel like that's fair, because sometimes it's, you have to admit, it's for shock value. Um, and then the consequence doesn't last that long. I need to see the hero when you kill somebody and gets tortured about it, and that consequence is served for a long time. I mean, you kill somebody, the son is gonna try and avenge you. This for generations. The scar doesn't last, a few pages. It's gotta last to book three. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to create out of. I was always pissed reading these stories, and I feel no, 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 no. Even with the incident with the Jari that you see in book one that everyone complains about, uh, that is going to be a scar that you would have. I would drag my readers through all the way to the end, because it cannot. I don't care if it brings back bad memories, but if you're gonna write something disturbing right like that, the consequence, you need to know that there are consequences to these things, and that it's not okay, and it's not gonna be okay for several books. Death, when it's written, people, like, I feel like people just kill somebody, like writers that like to kill somebody in a book, that and then devastate, and then that's it, and then they move on to the next quest. I'm like, that's, I mean, come on, guys. In real life, somebody you love die, and you get hurt every time their name is mentioned. You look at the place where they used to be. 10 years from now, you're still hurt. You're still thinking about them, and that's the kind of story that I really want to write. And not a lot of people would drag readers that far. But I feel like that's the consequence of things. We, as humans, we feel deeply, we remember longer than this, we are hurt for a lot longer. And that's also the consequences that I'm talking about. It's not just for somebody doing something bad, but the pain that life causes you stays for a long time.
Faye, can you just give me 1 second? I think I have a delivery guy calling me. Just 1 second.
Okay, you don't want to miss that.
I'm so sorry. It's just a delivery
Yeah.
guy who's calling, so I had to take delivery. Um, anyway, so if I understand you correctly, so it's not like you hate lighthearted books. It's about what you're trying to say is if you're going to write about wars and death and whatnot, then let it reflect the true consequences rather than watering it down. I think so. Now I get it. Now I think I understand what you mean when you say that we don't see the consequences. So when I'm reading Sherlock Holmes, that's fine. That's not about war and death. It's about a detective trying to solve a mystery. So you're not looking for that realism there. But when you're reading so-called epic fantasies
Yeah,
where somebody goes out
exactly.
and kills 15 people at once, but then goes out and have a drink and he forgets all about it, that's where you have a problem. Okay, I get it now. I get it now. I get it.
Yeah.
Makes
I
sense.
read a
Makes
lot
sense.
of I read a lot of silly vampire romance too. I have stacks of them when it's I feel like we have to judge books by genre as well, or by the target audience when it's well I actually I I enjoyed Akota a lot, the court of Sarah J Maas, the famous romantasy. I read the entire series. You wouldn't think that I would read Sarah J Maas, but I finished the entire series, um, enjoying them because, like, the main character was hot, and the love story, the romance was cool, the fantasy stuff was fine. But like you said, like she didn't try to go into heavy stuff. Meanwhile, I didn't like the which what's it called, that hit one with the opium war,
Poppy
like
War.
poppy war. I did not like that one at all. I was
I did not finish
actually
the first book. It's so well regarded. It just didn't work for me. It was not
I
working for me.
was angry. Even I read until the end because well, I actually picked it up at all because one of the agents that I was subbing to at that time was representing her. So I wanted to know what kind of books she liked. I went that far. I was reading agents represented books to see to query, and it was good enough for me to finish because the writing was okay. Um, I did not like that she brought the opium war into the poppy war into this, which is it's one of the ugliest history of all, the cruelest, and she handled it like a teen book. She put some teenagers in there and magic, and it was just, and eventually it became about their puppy love. Um, and there was some horrible details in there for maybe like a chapter, but that was about it. And I finished that book angry. I was like, this is not how you handle a subject like this. No, like please, because I write Obsidian. I don't even have the guts to go there. If you know what I'm saying. Like I cannot write that subject. That requires so much more attention. It's gonna be so depressing that I don't even I can't even get into the mindset of writing this subject. And then like this is like a teen book. That's so yeah. I'm okay with Sarah J Maas. I'm okay with like Holly Black. I read quite a lot of lighter stories. But like you said, like I think you nailed it. I haven't been able to explain that until you nailed it. It's like, yeah, I don't mind lighter books, but when when you choose this heavy subject, we'll treat it right.
No, absolutely. I think that's why, and I'm glad to hear that because people like one of my favorite authors right now is watching the show, JCM Byrne, Joe Byrne. So he writes very light, as he calls it, relentlessly hopeful books. But I think his hero, Rohan, he suffers the consequences of when he does these bad things. In fact, the whole book starts with the setup because of a consequence of something he's done in his previous life. So you might just enjoy his book. I don't know. So Joe says two lovely people. Takes one to know one, Joe. So thank you very much. Um, so Joe wants to know your favorite manga. So will you please tell us about Legends of the Galactic Heroes that you put me on
Uh,
to? Well, that's anime
actually,
actually.
that's anime. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't read. I That's my favorite anime. Manga is uh Basara from from Tamara Yumi Sensei. I'm a huge fan of Tamura Yumi, um, author of the mangaka of Seven Seeds, Basara. Uh, it's fantasy. Actually, everyone who's read Basara and then read Obsidian would know immediately that it was influenced by Basara. It's the legend of Basara, not the. There are two Basara manga in that, but the girly one, right, by Tamura Yumi, and that's like an adventure fantasy with where love runs through it and enemies to lovers, but it's intense and it's sort of like Obsidian, where you see human nature explained. She's really good at that. Um, if you also look up Seven Seeds, that's even worse. That's set in the future world where everything was destroyed, and then you have monsters, and you get teams of people who had been put into capsules, and then they woke up uh, hundreds of years later into then plunged into this world. And the thing is, they selected these kids randomly. They have several teams, and some teams they chose the best, some teams they just chose randomly just to experiment and see who would be the humans that can survive this horrible future. So it's very psychological, and she's whatever she writes, it's always very it's like that. Even when it's lighter, it's still very psychological. You'd see a lot of different human natures in that. That's what I love about her books. I am also a fan of Hunter x Hunter.
Ah, Hunter x
I
Hunter, yeah.
yeah yeah, and I read a lot.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo. Yeah, I grew up with Dragon Ball, of course.
Dragon
Um,
Ball Best.
Dragon Ball best for like anime and manga. Vagabond. I love Vagabond. Oh, it's too
I
many.
have to read that.
Yeah,
Too
too
many.
many, but off the top of my head. But yeah, definitely my favorite, my top favorite would be Tamura Yumi's every single manga.
Cool, cool. Very good. All right, so Joe has another question, which is basically where did the name Sienna come from?
I saw somebody on Instagram called Sienna, and I liked the name. I think she was a travel specialist or something. It came out and I was like, oh, that's a pretty name. And I was looking for a pen name, a cool Western pen name, because I didn't want anybody here to know that I'm writing a book. You know, I was that secretive. Yeah, actually, not a lot of people around my life, my real life around here know that I'm an author. Like
So
you,
a lot of
everyone
people have
else
asked,
knows,
yeah.
not here.
So a lot of people have been asking what is this book about. So I think we've already talked about it, but just to make it clear, the books are about two sets of very powerful people. One lives in the cities. They're basically Middle Eastern lore based. They live in and around the desert sands. So one lives in cities, one are more nomadic, just like the Arabian Bedouins. And basically, this whole thing is a power struggle between the ones who live in the cities and the ones who live in the deserts. And we follow the lives of the rulers, the chieftains and the rulers and the people that they control, the princes and the chieftain's daughter, etc., the oracles. So it's their story and how their interactions and their decisions shape the lives of the people living in that region. It is exceptionally well written by Kajornwan Chung, Sienna Frost, and Faye. I think I got all of them right. And it's insane to think that it was written by somebody whose first language is not English. Your English is impeccable, and not just that, you have that thing that I love, that you have these beautiful turns of phrases. I love the dialogue banter that you have between your characters. I'm a big fan of witty dialogue. I love banter, which is why I love anime so much and manga so much. So you have that, and it's amazing to think that somebody whose first language is not English can do that kind of thing. So yeah, so this is what the two books are about. It's still not finished, but believe me, if you finish one and two, you'll need 6 months to take rest and recover. So you can wait for the next book. It's not one of those I'm going to finish this and move on. You can't do that. It took me 6 months to get over the first one and start the second one. So it'll really, really like devastate your soul and your brain. They're very heavy, but in the best possible way. And part one is the setup. Part two is the payoff. I can't imagine part three. You left part two in a very, very nice place. Like it didn't go anywhere from there. Um, so that's very intriguing. So it is. So the reason why I brought up the other grimdark that I've read and your books is the reason why I don't remember Joe Abercrombie. I don't like. It's not for me. I'm not gonna say I don't like his books. Not for me. I don't remember what happened. I'm gonna keep reading Robin Hobb because I love her writing style, and I have a feeling, Faye, if you keep reading the first book, which is I think the first book is called The Magician's Apprentice. I think. No, no, it's not that.
Was it
The Royal.
first person? It was first person, wasn't it?
It is first. Yes, it's no, it's not. Is it first person? Let me see. Farseer trilogy. I don't remember if it's first person
It
or not.
might have been the first person that threw me off because I have problems with those, and I have
Yeah,
to be
it's
in the
yeah,
right.
yeah. It
Yeah,
is
yeah,
first person.
yeah. I
But
have
I'm
to be
telling you,
really. Yeah,
if you
yeah.
check out a few of the pages, it's very well written, and book two and three are you love consequences. It's full of consequences,
That's cool.
and book three, I think she wanted to punish her readers for daring to read her books. It's the most miserable I've felt.
Oh,
Book three, I felt
that's so
miserable.
cool.
It
Oh, that's
it
so
really.
cool.
I was very unhappy for days after I finished book three. I didn't like it at all, but I
Oh,
love her writing style, so I
I
would
have to
recommend
get
them
there.
to you.
I have to
Um,
get.
So moving on, so something that that I've been wondering, a lot of things I've been wondering about. Some I've written down. Hope I remember them. So one of the things when I said to you that I've never really conversed with a Thai person before, and you said I'm not your typical Thai. What does that mean? What's a typical Thai, and what are you?
I feel like we're mild as people. We're quite mild. We don't go to extremes. We don't like extremes. We tend to choose. We're Buddhist. We're a Buddhist country, so we choose peace over everything. And I haven't fit in since I told you I lived abroad for over a decade. I came back with a culture shock, but it actually I went abroad at all because I didn't fit in here. Like I was bullied a lot. I was an outcast because I spoke my mind. I said whatever comes to mind. I don't care. I'm not one of the girls who go to the bathroom in groups. I found that ridiculous. And, um, those kind of things, and it made people feel like, oh, I'm not just antisocial, but I was trying to be different. But I had different ideas of what I want, how I want to do things, and I don't go with the flow, and that's what most Thai people were brought up to do, to go with the flow, to always take the middle road, to be nice, to not create conflicts, to you know to do whatever it takes to keep the peace. And I didn't like that idea because I lose who I am. I'm an artist. I think I was born with an artist mind, and I have some things that I feel like this made me the original, the me. So I was the girl who didn't dress like everyone else, and that was a problem here. It's and then I went to the US, and that was different, especially back then where individuality was a thing that American people really celebrated, and I felt so liberated. I was like, my sister was doing her bachelor's degree in Santa Barbara, and I went to stay with her for 2 months to study English. in a short English program, and I was like, wow, I could do anything here, and nobody cares. Nobody cares how I dress. Nobody cares what I do. I can just sit here and eat on the beach, and people are just gonna look at me. What are you doing? Um, and I felt like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just in the wrong place, and so I came home from then, and I told my dad, I have to go. I can't stay here. Uh, and so he's like, no, America, you, I was 14 at the time. He's like, no, you can't. It's America is too, like, too dangerous for a teenage girl. Since you're just gonna go alone too. So I was put in a boarding school in New Zealand for 2 years, and then it was too countryside, too quiet for me. I came from Bangkok. Come on, and I was in Havelock North, and back then even the immigration officer didn't know where that was. so, and so we moved. I moved to the UK. I stayed for another year, and it still wasn't the American, individuality, freedom, kind of feel that I wanted. And so I made my way to the US. I graduated from the US. I came back, like, as I say, like, America is my home. That's where I met my husband as well, and that's where my life actually got together. I was so happy. I graduated and I had to come home, and it was a culture shock for me. And for years, I feel like I couldn't socialize with anybody because I'd just be fighting with them and they would not understand me. Even now, they don't understand me because Thai people usually talk about very simple things and they do chit chats. And you've read my book. I mean, I like going into shit, and yeah. So that's what I say. Like, you don't expect a Thai person to be like me because I came from so many backgrounds as well, and I didn't fit in from the start.
Yeah, well, I've been to Thailand many times, and whatever kind of Thai person you are, I'm having a great time talking to you. But Thailand is amazing. Like everybody in Bangladesh, like the entire world loves Thailand. The food is so good, and all kinds of food are there. You can get the local Thai food, which is
Oh yeah,
insanely
the food.
tasty. Food is amazing,
Uh,
and you get all the foreign food. It's just epic, epic. So yeah, and of course, when I go next, if you have time, I'd love to meet you for a cup of coffee. Um,
of course, yeah. Just let me know.
so yeah, yeah, of course, of course. So here's the thing that I'm interested in. So you said these amazing stories, as you said, in the Middle Eastern culture, the desert culture. So what exactly led you to do that? Because obviously you didn't want to do it in the typical medieval European setting that we see, or the Greco-Roman thing that's going on for the last 10, 20 years. But how come you didn't go try? How come you didn't try to go for the Ramayana or Ramakien, as it's known in Thailand? Why didn't you do the Thai version of the Ramakien or the Thai culture, or why specifically the desert? What about the desert called you?
Well, uh, when you say why not like a Thai setting, one thing, you will never see me write anything based here, from here, because this is my escapism. I'm a traveler. If I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna travel somewhere else. I'm not gonna stay here. So like, I have nothing about against the Thai setting, but I'm a traveler. That's like my only window to travel, and that also answers your second question because the
Okay, okay,
desert is my most favorite place. I've
okay.
been to about 60 something countries, or every continent except Antarctica, and I love the desert the most. Uh, it's uh, one of my best memories of traveling were in these three countries, which was Jordan and the Petra, the desert, the red desert of Wadi Rum. I had such a good time there. I spent a few days in the Gobi, in the steppes, in Mongolia. I did a horseback riding trip for around. Mongolia for about 20 something days.
Wow.
And I stayed with the nomads. We actually were riding from Ge to Ge and staying with the nomads, experiencing nomadic life in the steppes where there's like no cars, no roads, and all everywhere we go, we had to take the horse. And I had the absolute best time. And no electricity, nothing, not even a phone signal, no way to charge your devices, whatever. And I had that was the most peaceful moment in my life. I didn't want to go home, despite the like having to go without showers for 8 days at a time. And when we had shower, that was in the spring. Okay, like we had to ride a horse to a spring. um yeah, but actually Obsidian was born after I came back from Mongolia. I wanted
Oh,
to write
okay.
about nomadic culture. I was already in love with the desert. I love the Middle East, the culture, the art, the I don't know. I just like, and we also stayed with the Bedouins in Wadi Rum for a few nights. Uh,
Wow.
so that was I experienced nomadic life from the Middle East and Mongolia, and that brought this theme together. And that's why I wanted to set it here because they're my favorite places. The Starry Night you see is like the was my best night in the White Desert of Egypt. The White Desert is actually a real place in Egypt that we camped out for a night with a Bedouin, and there were so many stars, and then you have these white rocks everywhere. Um, and then next to the white desert was the black desert where you have black mountains on the sand. That's why you have this setting, the white and the black desert. Yeah.
No, Egypt is magical. I went a long time back in 2002, and the pyramids and the temples,
Yeah.
it's insane. Magic. It's just too much to take in. It's absolutely magical. Um, Wait 1 second. Let me just check something. Check some comments. Uh, so JCM Byrne, Joe says Hunter x Hunter is a huge
Oh,
favorite of mine too. So I gotta get onto that. Some other people, some of my
it's
friends have already recommended
unfinished.
it.
It's unfinished. I have to warn you, but it's still worth the journey.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I'm
gets
at that.
darker and darker and darker the more you
Oh,
go.
I can take audiovisual grimdark all day, all day. I love the experience audiovisual. It's just when
Yeah.
I'm writing, it's a direct connection. It's a much more immersive thing, when you're reading. So that I have a problem with. Um, I don't really guess I'm late. I thought the episode would start. Then no, sorry, Aske, we have a special time because we're doing it with a special person. So yeah, so going back to what we were
So,
talking about. So do you have any idea when the next when you'll bring out the next book?
no.
No, nothing, like
No, that's
zero.
no.
Okay.
I like I said, I'm a pantser, and I do not. I wake up to write every day, but I don't write unless it feels right. So uh, even if I'm going fast now, there could be a gap if it ends up being like, I just can't write during these periods. My characters aren't talking to me. If they're not talking to me, I don't write.
All right.
So,
Okay.
and
And
I
and
feel like that's why these two books are appreciated by readers a lot, because you'd see everything that goes in there are important stuff uh, that needs to be said. So if I don't find the right things, to write about, the every chapter has to be intense in itself. And if that doesn't come up, I don't write down. So I can't promise at all. Like book two, actually, I didn't realize it was gonna be this long. I was at It's 220 something k long, and at 170, 180k, I was like, this is too long. I should wrap it up. But I feel like no, this is not the right place to end it. And everybody said just end it and then split it in two books. And I'm like, no, I can't. I'm an artist. You're telling me to like paint half a picture and then sell two pictures. I don't do that shit. um, so yeah, I just kept writing and writing until I find the ending that I felt like, okay, this is a good ending point, and then I stopped. So why I'm writing it, I can't tell you, and I won't
No, I
commit to
get
that.
it. I get it. I get it. It's like your favorite toy. You bring it out to play when you feel like it, and then you put it away till you want to play with it again. I totally get it.
Yeah,
Um, because I'm at that age also where I'm not one of those people, Jay, oh my God, this is unfinished, so I'm not going to read it or I'm not going to watch it. I enjoy whatever is in front of me if it's good enough. And I think definitely these two books are absolutely fantastic.
we're the
And I
same.
cannot, yeah. So I cannot stress enough the importance of creating moments in books because literally I enjoyed your grimdark versus the others I've talked about because the reason why I never got into Game of Thrones, why it was all much ado about nothing. There's like 700 pages of build up and then 2 pages of payoffs which are not very good. And I was like there's literally one book where Brienne of Tarth, she's looking for Sansa. Sansa is missing. She's gonna find her. There's a 70-page journey of Brienne going from door to door looking, is Sansa here? Is Sansa here? And the
Uh,
end of that journey is she doesn't find her. She comes back home. I'm like, what was this all about? That's it. There was no character growth. There was nothing. Nothing happened. I was like, what is the point of this? Why did you write 70 pages about this? So, which is why the
and
other grimdark book recently I really enjoyed is Alexander Robb, the one that he wrote,
oh yeah,
There Will Be Thousands, which you also enjoyed. So that's a very short, a lighter grimdark book, but it's full of amazing moments. So I'm really happy that you chose to give us these moments instead of being like J.R.R. Martin and just lots of talk and people being miserable with no moments. So thank you for that. I'm glad you gravitate towards giving your readers moments. It's a choice, or maybe it's a I don't know what it is, but I personally loved it. I didn't think I'd love your book so much. I because book
oh,
two has reframed book one for me because of book two. And it's now become something I'm really looking forward to reading the continuing adventures of all these characters. Muradi has become one of my favorite characters. Lasura is my favorite character. He's the most that I can empathize with because he's kind of aimless, doesn't have control. He's not very confident. I can relate to that. The others I can't relate to. They're
me
all too
too.
good at what they do. So,
Yeah.
and I can't wait for how you're gonna bring down Dio Amara one of these days. He's gonna get. I'm sure he's gonna get his, because everyone is getting theirs. So his day will come. So I can't wait for that.
Maybe
So
he's
these are.
already gotten his. This is. I feel like this is the aftermath now.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
he's one of the most tragic. He's one of the characters with the most tragic backstory. Might be the worst, and this is how he handles it.
Oh,
I don't have a clear idea of everything in my head yet because I he's one of those characters where I have to write to discover what's going on. So I've seen only glimpses of his backstories, but book three is going to be his book. So we're definitely going to explore why he did all this, what happened back then, and what does he want. The past is going to control whatever he wants, and why he's done what he's done from the beginning of book one. So there have been crumbs that I left without me knowing. It's a surreal feeling when you're a pantser and you write and you know that he's gonna do this and he's gonna say this somehow, but I don't know why. And then you find out. I actually find out later why he said that. There's actually this one part in book one that um, very few people picked it up was Hashim when he said, "Did he or did I hurt you?" and he actually slipped out that he, which you already know what, who that he is in book two. I'm not gonna say it, but um, nobody caught that. And then when you read book two, and
Yeah.
some readers remember that because they were curious, and some readers just read really fast and they didn't catch that. And then I'd say, I pull out this passage and it's like, he was there for book one.
Yes, he was there from book one. Yeah.
And back then, when I was writing book one, I had no idea. Really, I
Okay.
had no idea that he existed. But I have this vision of someone else, of the darker side of him. His subconsciousness, waking up to that scene. And that was the only glimpse that I had, and so I had to write the he because it's someone else, but I don't know who that
No,
is.
there's in book two when that incident occurs, and you do flashback to the foreshadowings. There's enough foreshadowing. It doesn't come out of nowhere. You really did a nice bit of foreshadowing in book one, uh, and I didn't see it coming. When it happens, I didn't see it coming. There was, and
Well,
I
I
think you
didn't
handled.
either. you
Yeah.
you didn't see it coming because I didn't either, and I feel like that's the twist that's why the twists are so good because I didn't see it coming either.
No, I love the rapid fire, the twist within twist, like the twists and turns. Like you twist something and then it turns the table. I love the way you did this. It's just brilliant. I can go on and on about the books, the things that I loved about this book, but then I'd be giving the story away, which I don't want to do. Don't want to do that. Um, so you mentioned, let's talk about your love for anime a little bit, because you are the one who put me along the anime of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I'm up to episode 19. You said it gets much better
Yeah.
from episode 26, but I'm loving whatever I'm seeing. And interestingly, I read the first book in English. Like, it's a Japanese, very well regarded book series actually. So I bought the first book because I'm really into Japanese culture and Chinese literature as of late, and I love the first book. And the anime, the first, I think, 8 or 9 episodes is basically the first book. It is
Mm-hmm.
very, very, very faithful to the book. Like, they've changed nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's very, very faithful. So, how did you get onto this? What exactly do you like about this anime? Please tell us why you love Legends of the Galactic Heroes so much.
Because you know what? I actually hate anime. I don't like watching anime. I love manga because I can see the artist drawings, the signature lines, the flaws in it, and I love that. But this anime, because there wasn't a manga
Yeah.
available, and then the book was on at that time. There was no translation into English, so I only had anime as a choice. And one of the my friends who was reading my stuff and loving it, and she was like, "You gotta watch this." So I watched it. Um, oh wow! I mean, for one thing, if you're talking about characterization, the Legends of Galactic Heroes is like the um, biggest gallery of character traits that you can have. And I mean, every writer should be watching this anime because there are probably, what, 200 characters in there, and they all have different, very, fleshed out characterization that, you know, and you remember a lot, even like the side characters, even the cat, even Yang Wenli's cat. I mean, you would remember everybody in that, and that's how good the characterization is. And I love a huge cast. And like I said, I usually like the historical, like space opera is not my thing. I hate sci-fi because I'm trying to escape the modern world here, please. But I mean, it's that good. It got me into watching space opera. But I loved it because it's not about the technology at all. It's about the characters. It's very political, and I dig that. I mean, you get the whole episodes of history. Have you been through that episode? There is like a whole episode where you get to watch them watching TV, learning the history of the planets, and I had to write shit down. It was so complex. I love Legend of the Galactic Heroes because everything is so complex. It's so fast. It's so condensed because did you like I had to rewind a lot because you can't just like walk over and grab a drink and come back and then still know what's going on. I mean, one planet could have been blown up by the time you got to the fridge, and you wouldn't know what to, why. Yeah, and everyone is so smart, and I love the how you see every side of the conflict without seeing the good or the evil side because you love both sides. I really admire young Winley. I love Reinhardt. And now you would see who Muradi was based off. The more you watch Reinhardt, the more you'll see like I love that guy. I love that Kaiser. Uh, yeah, but I think um, this anime was really, really adult. It's one of those where it's all politics. There's no very fun in games and meme worthy scenes, but it's witty. It's more like witty than cute, and that's what I don't like in animes most of the time because it's always so cute. Yeah, but it requires a lot of concentration and your brain needs to work a lot, and I love those kind of books and movies. A lot of wisdom, and then there's love. There's like I never thought I'd get into like spaceships. Like I was like, oh my god, I'd want posters of every spaceship in that because they're so pretty, and eventually they like you'd see spaceships and stuff in Star Trek and in Star Wars and everything, but you never see them like you never get attached to them like in Legends of the Galactic Heroes because they're like this is like my horse, Every time you mention the name of this spaceship, like this is his horse, his car, his Ferrari, and this is his Lamborghini, and then you get up. Even I'm a girl and I'm not a sci-fi geek, and I love the spaceships. It just everything about Legends of the Galactic Heroes is like top notch, and it turns me into a fan of everything that I never thought I would be a fan of. But I'm so glad that you liked it and you're episode 19. That's cool.
No, I loved. I think one recent anime you might enjoy is Attack on Titan. I think it does. It has the least amount of fan service, least amount
I
of
watched
cutesy
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you watched it? Did you like it or
I
not?
watched I watched it for a while and then I felt like it became a bit boring. But
Did you
it
did
was
you like finish a
interesting at
season
first.
or?
Yeah, I think I finished the season and I was like in the middle of the next season or something, and then it was like it was getting repetitive or something like that. Yeah. But I mean, I came from Legends of Galactic Heroes. After that, I mean, really,
Everything's
you're
boring.
fucked. You're fucked.
Um, so Kaisar is asking favorite JoJo arc and JoJo hero.
I don't remember, but I
Okay.
think it was the later ones. Oh, I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. It's been like 20 years. I was reading
uh,
it in Thai. It wasn't even released in English yet back then. I'm sorry, but yeah. But it was the later ones, not the first few. Yeah.
so what's the book scene like in Thailand? Like the local writers, local writing scene in Thailand?
Very bad. Um,
Yeah.
very bad. I mean, we don't even have proper bookstores anymore. We have a a stationery store with a book section. I mean, that's how bad it is. So you have no hope whatsoever being a writer here. You don't get paid at all. There people don't read. They watch and yeah. Well, we do have bookstores, and that's the English language one, but for the Thai language one, it's a small section in a stationery store in a yeah, with lots of branches. But yeah, and that it's not a reading. I That's another reason why I don't fit in here at all. I can't talk books with anybody, and they look at me weird when I said like I read fantasy. You know, like how old are you? They're like, how old are you? 6? Like like you actually read something like about an imaginary world for real. And it's like, no, I don't just read it, I write it. That's even more embarrassing. I'm like, come on. I mean, you spend your whole day daydreaming about this place that doesn't exist. What's wrong with you?
No, I think we're doing slightly better than you guys. We have a pretty thriving local book culture, writing culture,
So cool.
and in fact, the month of February is like the book fair month in Bangladesh. So we have a very famous book fair that happens in the capital city, and we have
Mm.
slightly smaller versions that all across the country. So we celebrate books, and a lot of people go to these fairs and buy books in February. So there's a new wave of like genre fiction that's happening for the last 20
Wow.
years. Yeah. So we're slightly better than Thailand in that regard. Um, so yeah, we have a pretty fun book community here, which is why I can do the show because I love talking books. Enough
So cool.
people like talking books, so we can do the show here. And so tell me something. So you're not a professional writer, which you proudly say in your ex bio, like unprofessional writer. So what do you do for a living, or how do you spend your time? Like since you returned to Thailand, what do you do?
I own pet supplies business, retail and wholesale. So basically, the wholesale side is I import pet supplies from the US and I distribute here to other pet stores. And I also have my own retail here in Bangkok. So that's like my life has been always been about pets. I brought 2 huskies back from the US, from Seattle with me. I started showing them, breeding them back way back then, and yeah, so I ended up with like 7 huskies that I kept, and that was just weren't supplies, good pet supplies here back then. And I said, let's just import those. So I've been importing pet supplies from the U.S. for quite a while, and so I became like I was a show like I show dogs. I was a groomer. I was training dogs. I was like and cats. So yeah, my life is revolved around all kinds of pets. So like I have parrots now too.
Yeah, You have
Yeah,
Machu Picchu. You have 2 cats, I think. You have
I
now. I've
have
heard
3 cats.
three
And I
cats.
have yeah. I don't have dogs anymore after the last one died from old age. Like I stopped because you get really emotional after. And I kept maybe I think 3 from the same litter, so they all died in the same year. They were
Mm.
like 14 or 15, and that was a really hard year for me. And I said no, no more, no more dogs for a while. And so I've been taking cats from the streets, the stray cats. um, yeah, and then I have rabbits, and then and now birds, and it's just gonna keep being birds from now. I didn't realize I'm a bird person until I'm 48.
Yeah, my cat passed away last year, and then everyone is telling me
uh,
that you should take a new one, and I'm like, no, I still like I see him out of the corner of my eye in my
it's
house.
yeah.
So I'm like, no, I still see him in roaming around the house. So it has to be after I stop seeing him. It can't be now. So I totally get it. Yeah, so I see a lot of your parrots. You also have 2 children. Your daughter's a golfer. You're very proud of her, obviously, and you have a son. So so how much time do you get to write every day? Because you're a busy business person and you have a family. Like, how do you
From 5
balance?
a.m. from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m.
What?
Sometimes I 5 a.m. to 9 or to 8.
You
These
wake up at
days,
5 a.m.
sometimes 4. I don't get much sleep. I watch series until like 10, 11, then I'm up sometimes. Yeah, from I'd wake up over some small things, and then I'd like, I want to write now. You know, that's the thing. I'm excited to write, and yeah, so it's not hard for me at all. And that's the only window I have because everyone is still sleeping. Otherwise, I get called on, like somebody needs something. The kids need food. They need to go to school. Like I'm lucky these days because I have my dad takes them to school for me, so I can stay and write until like 8 or 9. Yeah, but that's my only writing time.
Oh, I've never accomplished anything at those hours from 4 a.m. to 9
Oh, that's
a.m.
my most
Nothing.
productive time
I've never.
actually.
I suck at it. Um, yeah, that's good. I think we're done here because it's quite late where you are. It's 11:30, right, at your place in
Yeah,
Thailand. So it's quite late. So let's just call it a day today. And of course, we're gonna have you back later if you want to come. I'd be so happy. Um, I want to do an Avengers
definitely.
style meetup with you and JCM Byrne and Shami Stova, like all of us get together. I don't know what
Oh, that would be
happens. I really
fun.
want to do that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll try to plan it with Joe and Shami sometime soon. But thank you
yeah.
so much, Faye, for agreeing to come to the show. And already I can see in the comment section somebody saying that let me bring out the Grimdark Soul for me. We'll definitely check out the series. So that reminds me for people wanting to check out her series, you can so we cannot get Kindle books here. It's geo-locked for Bangladesh.
Oh
But
wow.
there's this thing called kindlebd.com. Some Bangladeshi live in America. He's created some sort of a portal where you can go from Bangladesh and you can buy Kindle books, which will come directly to your Kindle on your device. And you can use local currency. You don't have to pay in dollars. It's all legit. So go to kindlebd.com and look for Obsidian Awakening, Obsidian Revelation. If you're watching this on the YouTube's description, I have given the link to the books as well so you can get it very easily. But yeah, get it from Kindle BD, and let's not do piracy of indie authors. Let's only do piracy of established rich authors. Let's help out indie authors. Let's buy their books. Yeah, that's
You don't
about it.
even have to. If you can't get it, just let me know. Like, remember these books were on Wattpad for free. So I'm one of those authors who's like, yo, if it's a struggle, just let me know. I'll give you the ebook.
All right, so Faye is being nice. I'm not nice. I know it's not a
No,
struggle.
seriously.
Everybody can afford $4, $5, not an issue. So it's nothing. Um, but thank you so much, Faye, because sometimes we don't have a choice. Kindle is blocked here. We don't get a lot of things, and if you wait for the proper way to read something, we'd still be living in caves, you know. So
No.
especially nowadays, and nowadays Amazon and all these people have announced that, oh, you actually don't own anything. Everything that you buy digitally, it's owned by them, and they can take it away anytime they want. So right now I'm re-looking at piracy myself, like, okay, then it's fine to do piracy. But as I keep telling people, let's not do piracy with indie authors. Let's reserve it for people like JK Rowling. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. She's got enough money. uh,
No, but
so
I've always had, it's just the one last thing is I've always had this idea that I may end up doing, if I really stop caring, is that I would actually prefer that people read my books for free, and then if you like it, you tip me whatever you want later. Like
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah,
I love that idea of having a tipping jar. It would
yeah.
make me so proud if you pay me because you enjoyed it so much, and you so much that you want to pay me afterwards, not before, and then get disappointed and then you toss my book away. These are my babies. So I don't need anyone who doesn't like it to trudge through because you don't want to waste your money or whatever. Like I don't want that. Like if you're curious and you don't want to risk it, you can, like, I like the idea of people just reading my book first and then deciding if they want to pay me for it, and that would make me so proud, so much prouder for the $2 that I make. I mean, it's shitty, but that $2 is gonna mean so much more to me if you pay me later. So that might be something along the way that I might end up doing. I've been thinking for real. So
Well, there you have it. Faye is much kinder than me. It's her book. She can tell you whatever she wants regarding her book. So there you have it. I can tell you before we leave off, these two books are, I don't like, I'm not attracted to grimdark. I don't like being miserable. Faye did her best to make me miserable, and I enjoyed it. So these books, why? Because shit goes down, and she knows how to turn the tables. Like you think you're going somewhere, and then suddenly the floor leaves your feet, and you're falling down a cave. It's like unexpected things happen upon unexpected things. Really, really, really enjoyable. The first one is the big setup. The second one, you realize the legends you've been hearing about people, they're true because you see them in action. I love this turn. I really enjoyed that. And I'm not going to say I'm eagerly awaiting the next book. Whenever you have write your next book, I'll be here to read it. And I strongly urge people who are watching this show today, if you like grimdark, if you like your heart being crushed and your brain being warped, check out these books. They're absolutely amazing. Faye, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah.
today. I will talk to you, of course, on X, and we'll catch you on Book Dawn sometime next week. Till then,
Okay.
everybody, have a good time. And Faye, next week is our Eid. I'm sure you know about Eid,
Yeah.
since you know about Middle Eastern culture. So Eid Mubarak to you, and Eid Mubarak to all our Book Dawn viewers.
The same
Good
to
night,
you.
everyone.
Okay. Good
Bye.
night. Bye.
Bye.